Welcome into Views from the Sideline. It is November 6th, 2018. Welcome into the show, guys. I am one of your three hosts, Chris Pappas, Malik Hill, Joey Tysick. What's going on, guys?
Not much. Just a little new setup here. Some nicer looking cameras, so we're not looking through the glass anymore. You guys are sitting right with us, and we're live for once.
Streaming on Facebook, right?
That's right.
Stepping up in the world.
Yeah. So we're upping the production quality.
And today, too, is a big show for us. It's our college basketball preview. That'll take control of...
It's here.
Malik, are you excited?
Oh, yeah, Malik.
Am I excited? Listen, the NBA is now the fourth most important
Okay,
thing.
let's
Wait a
calm
minute.
down
We got
here.
college football. College basketball is now number 2. Forget the pros.
No,
NFL
stop.
third because
NFL's third for you?
the playoffs will be in a few months. So
In a few months.
NBA, we got to wait till spring to get to the play. Man, wait till midseason. You'll catch me again on my
So you're done with the NBA for a little bit here.
kind of done. Of course, I'll still pay a little bit of attention, but college basketball is back. I'm so excited. Michigan basketball is back.
Since we won't touch on this little bit of news during the show, I do want to get it out there. Coming into the studio today, LaMelo Ball has signed.
No.
Signed?
Not signed. But he is heading back to
Signed?
high school basketball, play at Spire Academy.
He can do
And
that?
Malik, he has some inside scoop here.
Fun fact. The starting point guard at Spire Academy is Mark Rocket Watts, who played for my stepdad for the past 3 years.
Oh, that's that guy you always talk about?
Yep, Michigan State commit,
Wow.
going to MSU next year. They're going to be the backcourt at Spire, so this is a small world, really.
LaMelo's going to take control of that
yeah,
ball,
I'm-
that play.
How's he
That's
able
what
to
he
do?
thinks.
How's he able to go from like the JBA to high school, back to high school?
Because LeVar does what LeVar wants to do,
Jeez.
and that's his
True.
son,
I
and
guess
he
that's
has control. But he doesn't have control over Rocket Watts, I'll tell you that right now.
It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, and we have our own inside source. So if anything happens, even before LeVar
kinda.
Ball
Just a
says
little,
anything,
just a little.
we might have a little information beforehand. But I just wanted to bring that up because we haven't talked any Ball brothers in a long time. Also, LiAngelo Ball has entered the G League player pool, so he is eligible to be signed by any of the G League teams. That'll be interesting. You know, the Lakers brought him in for a workout. Golden State brought him in for a workout. It'll be interesting to see if any of these teams actually sign him to play for a G League team. So
If he's not playing for the Santa Cruz Warriors, I will be shocked. They love getting guys that can shoot. They had the baby Splash Brothers.
Quinn Cook,
Not Quinn Cook.
Quinn was there too, though.
They had Clay's little brother and Steph's little brother playing together for a few years
Seth?
in Santa Cruz. Yeah.
Yeah, Seth played for there for a little bit.
Baby Splash Brothers
Yeah.
in Santa Cruz. Yeah, little show for the fans.
Yeah, well, it's
He should
funny.
get a shot.
We haven't heard anything about the Ball brothers in a long time.
They've been on
outside
that
of
European
Lonzo.
tour.
Thank goodness.
They've been too far above us.
Yeah.
Now they're coming back.
Can only take so much of the balls and LeBron James for one summer. It was rough.
Especially now. I can go a day without hearing something about LeBron and the Lake Show.
I mean, when they're struggling, it's going to be news. And when they're good, it's going to be news.
Give Luke Walton a chance. Okay, now.
I think he will. I think he'll stay the whole year. But let's get into some football talk so we have enough time for that college basketball preview in the second half of the show. We got to talk Michigan. Absolutely devoured Penn State 42-7. Malik, they're gonna go into Columbus. They're gonna beat Ohio State.
Listen, as the resident Michigan man,
They're gonna beat Ohio State.
I'm both excited and terrified because this team, they have the best defense in the country. The way this defense is playing right now, I can honestly say Michigan's defense is on par with what Alabama's offense is right now. The domination that we're watching right now, it's pure domination from start to finish.
Okay.
I think they can be put on the same par. But Ohio State, man, that's they got to get over that hump, and I don't know if they can do it in Columbus. They should be able to. They're a better football team. Ohio State just almost lost to Nebraska, even though Nebraska's improving. They're a really good team. They're a playoff team right now.
If there was ever a team or a year that Michigan was going to go into Columbus and get a win.
This should be
It's
it.
this year. They have to get it done.
They should manhandle Ohio State, honestly. Ohio State has been playing soft all season.
And
there's no reason why Michigan
And they have
shouldn't.
a couple kind of easy games coming up to get ready to go. Now, will that affect them negatively or positively heading into that Ohio State game? It'll be interesting to find out.
Of course, Ohio State is going to be excited and hyped for that game, so it won't be a blowout.
It's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
So everything goes out the window there. Joey, what'd you see from this team?
They look good. There's not much else to say, honestly, because this was one of those big test games that they had left. They still can't let up. You got 2 easy games coming up before Ohio State, but like I said before, you want to keep the pedal to the metal. You want to keep rolling these teams. You want to keep that confidence going, and you just got to keep looking one game at a time. Don't look at Ohio State just yet because you still got 2 more games.
It's kind of tough. These 2 games, they're kind of cakewalks.
They should be.
Indiana's never a cakewalk. It's been a competitive game the past 3 years.
You always want to take games
Rutgers is gonna
one
be
at a
cakewalk.
time.
It should be.
It's going to be a cakewalk.
One game at a time.
Exactly.
Especially in the position
3
that they're
games
in.
left. They're in this position. There's 3 games left. I'm terrified.
Mm-hmm.
Terrified,
This
yet excited
position-
at the same time.
I've never seen them win a Big Ten championship. I was a little one the last time that happened, and I wasn't paying attention.
Little Malik getting lost in the mall with
Basically.
Ben Wallace and Chucky Atkins trying to find us.
That's a story for another time. People don't know about that.
We've already talked about that, I think, on the show.
I don't know if they remember it.
No, we didn't, because we found out about it after the show.
Yep. That's
And we
I don't
didn't know why Malik
Yeah.
didn't bring it up during the show.
Maybe.
story for another time.
Yeah, we'll
Alright,
get to that
Weird
one.
Piston story.
Anyways, Malik kind of answered this question, but I'll hit it with him again. The Michigan Wolverines, how they're playing right now, are they a playoff team? You say yes?
Yes, easily. I think they're in that number 4 spot.
Were
Everybody.
they were in the first, what do you call it, the first rankings, the college football
In the first
rankings,
ranking, they were
5th?
5.
Yeah.
But you had all analysts and media outlets are coming together and saying Michigan is the number 4 team.
I mean, that was a
at this point
dominant.
right
yeah,
now.
I mean, Penn State ranked number 14 at the time, and you just destroy them. I understand you're at home, but 42 to 7 when it was
And
42 to 0 at a point too.
should have been 42 to 0,
Yeah.
but they scored that last touchdown. But everybody's realizing how good this Michigan team is, and this Michigan team has expectations, lofty expectations, and they have to live up to them.
And I wonder where.
They
I
have
mean,
to.
what the buzz would be about this team if they somehow came away with that Notre Dame win in Week 1. I wonder if they're
they'd be
top
2.
2.
Yeah,
Top
Easily.
2 maybe.
they'd probably be 2.
Yeah, that's what no one's putting them over Bama. Let's talk a little MSU. Got to give them some love. They beat Maryland 24-3. What is that? 2 straight games, 2 solid wins. They're starting to bounce back, get into a little bit of a groove. Joey, I'll hit you with MSU first. What do you like from this team going forward here to finish out the year?
Just keep getting better. They got to keep getting better one game at a time. And obviously, you just got to try to develop some players and, just get some wins. You need these wins. They don't have a lot to play for. I mean, they should get a bowl game, I'm assuming. But it's going to be a smaller one, and they just kind of got to deal with what they got. It's been somewhat of a rough year for MSU, and they just got to keep looking forward to the future and develop the talent that they have there right now.
Yeah, so the focus just got to be on developing the players, the system, getting everybody on the same page for next season, because there's really not much left to play for outside a lackluster bowl game, to say the least. Malik, what did you see from MSU this week, and what do you think they can accomplish to finish out the year?
I was impressed with what Michigan State did in this past week, because Maryland, they've been a team that can beat a really good team and lose to a bad team at the same time this season. So you never know. You really don't know what you're going to get from Maryland. And coming off of the scandal that's been happening the past few weeks for Maryland, I'm not surprised this happened, but you can always expect a tough effort out of a Mark D'Antonio team, whether it's really good team like Ohio State, Michigan, or bad teams in the Big Ten. Northwestern is the one team that has their number right now, but besides that, tough effort, great way to come back and show everybody that you're still Michigan State.
You're still a solid
Yeah,
team.
you're still that team that nobody can take lightly. Mark D'Antoni isn't gonna allow them to play that way.
Yeah, and there's really nothing much to touch on when it comes to State. It would be nice to have them in contention still for at least a significant bowl game, just to make things more interesting with Michigan State. Even I'll throw Ohio State in there too. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see these next few weeks leading up to the big matchup in Columbus in a couple weeks. But
I got one more thing to touch on.
Please, Joe.
A live comment from my cousin Steve. He wants to ask, and I'm going to direct it towards Malik because he's the Michigan expert. Do you really think that Michigan has a chance? Again, this is all speculation. If they go in and beat Ohio State, they make a playoff. Are they good enough to beat a team like Alabama or Clemson? Steve's a Michigan State fan, just by the way.
First, I'm gonna refer to you as Cousin Steve every single time we talk about you now. So, Cousin Steve.
There you go.
Michigan, I believe.
If they go into Columbus and beat Ohio State.
I believe if they go into Columbus and beat Ohio State, then they also have to win the Big Ten championship. That's a big thing for me. If they go into Columbus and beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten championship, I believe they have a chance against Clemson because of the true freshman quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, who is coming on strong now after taking the starting spot after the Kelly Bryant controversy. I think they can beat Clemson if they put pressure on Kelly and I just forgot his name. Trevor Lawrence's face. I believe he will fold, and I think our DBs are good enough to keep a hold of those Clemson receivers. Those Clemson receivers are really talented, so they probably break a few big plays. But I think we have enough talent to get pressure in his face and cause havoc and pull out a close one. Alabama, on the other hand,
they're tough.
Listen, Tua Tagovailoa is no joke, even with the knee problems. They have a 4-deep running back core that really no other core in the country can rival what they have. They have pros. Their receiving core is full of pros. Their defense is full of pros. They're like a mini NFL team.
Right.
I don't think Michigan could beat them because offensively, we've gotten better every game this season, but I don't think it would be enough against that Alabama defense.
Right.
And Alabama's offense would probably break Michigan's defense because of how much talent and power they have.
Yeah.
Alabama would be too much, but I think they could sneak one past Clemson.
Do you echo Malik's statements there, Joe?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Alabama every year is just so tough. It's so hard to go in and beat them no matter what. Every year they're stacked. Their recruiting is top notch.
This team
so
specifically, this is the best offense Nick Saban has ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And that just made it even worse for everybody. It's not fair.
Right.
Everybody thought this LSU game was the one game that was going to show what Alabama was really.
Do they have a weakness? No.
Not really. So,
the answer is no.
No.
Joey, it's that weekly time. Every week, we got to do the Detroit Lions confidence check. Man, you were preaching the Lions were going to go into Minnesota, get a big win.
This has almost become Joey's hot take.
I mean, I was just saying it was a possibility that they could do it.
You put it down for the record.
Well, yeah, I pick the Lions every year, every game, so.
That's fine. You still put your stamp on it. They did not back you up. Let me tell you what.
The confidence you have in the Lions, I wish I had that confidence just
in life.
Yes.
I wish I had that
in
confidence.
Everything I do in life. That's I respect that.
That's a pretty crazy amount of confidence.
As a Lions fan, I respect that.
Anyways, the Vikings beat up on the Lions 24-9. Before we break down this game, talk about how the season's over. Joey.
How long has the season been over for you, Chris?
Week 1.
Since
preseason.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's really bad. Can't wait till we get to
what
Pistons talk.
Is your
Same.
What is your confidence in this Detroit Lions team, Joe?
Confidence is about, well, I said last week if they lost this week that it would be over. So it's over.
There's no hope you have in the team?
Statistically, there is, but because I've said that I have given up, I officially waved the white flag
You are waving the white
for my
flag,
fandom this season.
so you'll watch the games, but with no
Yep.
expectations
The
of playoffs.
only way I ever even come back to any excitement about this team is if they miraculously make the playoffs. But I won't say a word unless they did.
Miraculous and the
I
Lions
find-
don't go together.
Right. So,
It just doesn't
I
go
find
It's
that
together.
over.
hard to believe, though, Joe. Because
well, I'm going to watch the games.
no,
I'm
no.
going to hope they win.
yeah, no, I understand that, but I find it hard to believe that you won't talk about playoffs about this with this team if they beat Chicago on Thanksgiving. Who do they play next week? Is it Chicago on the
Chicago's next
road,
week.
and then who do they play? Is it Minnesota? After that, if they go if they're 5-5 after the next couple weeks,
That would be positive.
I
Yeah.
I
mean,
still don't believe in the playoff hopes,
I
but
feel
it'd be
like
positive.
Joey would believe in the playoff hope.
Oh,
They
he'd
not
be
bounce
on
back
a
too
he'd be
late.
on an 8 or 9. He'd be through the roof.
not
in
if
the next
not if
games.
Chicago
especially if
keeps
they're
winning.
division games.
Chicago's already up 3 games. The Vikings are up 2 games now. That's why I said this was a big week because it just swings the whole standings, especially with Chicago still winning. So
You're
it'll
sleeping on Chicago this
it'll
year,
take
too.
a lot for them to come back. So
That's good. That leads me to my next question. The Detroit Lions, 2018, are they finished?
yeah, I just said they were.
I know, but that was the question. I mean, you're burying them. You're done with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Put them in a coffin. Until next year.
Until next
Where they
year.
come
We'll be back.
strong.
We'll be back next year, boys.
Year 2 of the Patricia era.
But what went wrong with you for this week with the Lions? What wasn't right about this team? There was something definitely not right.
They couldn't run the ball again all of a sudden. Matthew Stafford made some poor decisions. Matthew Stafford got sacked 10 times.
That definitely doesn't help.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Seems like it comes down to
The
the offensive line
defense-
a lot.
The defense did a pretty good job at stopping Adam Thielen, yet he takes up about 70% of Kirk Cousins' passing yards, so it makes sense. But they got ran over by Dalvin Cook. Barely had any attempts, broke for a big play. Typical Lions defense, they give up the big play. And it was another game, that's back-to-back games, Seattle and Minnesota, where they've just looked bad overall. And that's where the biggest part of my confidence has fallen, because it wasn't one part of the game, it was the whole team. Just didn't look good, don't look good.
And they didn't look good for the entirety of the game.
Right.
It's not like
They weren't
it was a competitive for at least a
Right.
half.
They weren't in it. They didn't have a chance. Just didn't look good.
I wish they could tank. I really wish they could tank.
Yeah. At this point, it wouldn't be terrible too.
Just take the Browns method. I feel like we'd be better off
Or
than
the
the
Raiders,
Browns.
essentially. I mean, the Raiders are terrible.
Yes.
We'll get into that into our picks, but San Francisco, just
Nick Mullins.
my goodness,
Southern
I was
Miss
not
in the
expecting
building.
that.
Besides Brett Favre, who else can you name from Southern Miss?
Nobody.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's jump into our NFL picks because there's no point in looking forward to next week. They're gonna lose at Chicago. Joe, are you gonna keep
Predict
the trend
that
up?
Lions
Yeah,
win.
are you gonna keep the trend this week?
Predict that
Of
line.
picking the Lions to win. Yeah, because I'd like to see the Chicago Bears lose.
All right, let's get into our NFL picks. Current updated standings. Malik and I tied last week,
Wow.
and Joey was a step behind us.
What?
Still number 1.
I felt like I made some good picks though
You
last
did,
week.
but you still were in last place. But the standings are Malik at number 1 with 56 correct picks, Joey at 2 with 53 correct picks, and I follow behind with 47 correct picks. So I'm still within hailing distance, but
Hailing distance. That's what he calls it.
not quite there yet. This week, though, it'll change. It always changes this week.
How many weeks have you said that in a row?
Like 4 straight. I think ever since we started this outside of the
Noticing a trend, Joey. I don't know if I think it's over. The
I don't
Lions
know,
season is over. I think Chris's season might be over.
Well, we're only halfway through, so Chris has got more chance than the Lions at this point.
He does, but
Fair
he
point.
he
Fair
makes
point.
he makes some picks that head scratchers.
Yeah.
Some
They're
real
head scratchers
Yeah.
until I'm right.
When does that happen?
Let's start off Carolina at Pittsburgh. We'll go
Oh,
Joey
that's a good
first.
one.
Carolina, they're rolling right now.
Malik.
Carolina is rolling, but Pittsburgh is also playing really
They're at
inspired
home.
football. It's a home game. I'm taking the Steelers.
Give me Carolina. Next up, it's our favorite team, the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Joe,
Ooh,
we locking
yeah.
it in?
Lions, check it.
Malik, what you got?
Trubisky for the
Easy
win.
pick. I mean, this is going to be a double-digit loss.
This is
for
a
the
type of
Lions.
Lions win right here.
Honestly, it is. It's
telling you.
just going to be a why.
The Bears,
How.
the Bears are playing well. The Lions are playing bad. I'm just saying.
Going with the Bears.
Buffalo at the New York Jets. I picked the Jets
Wow.
like the last 3 weeks. I think I
Sam
can
Darnold.
actually be confident about this selection.
Is this the snooze fest of the year?
How
No,
many
you say
picks
that
does Sam
every-
Darnold have right now?
He has
Quite a few.
lot. Yeah, he's got a lot.
Okay, this game
'Cause-
depends on if Buffalo, for some
start
reason,
Peters-
decides to start Nathan Peterman. If I knew that ahead of time,
Peterman.
I would have immediately
Peterman.
picked the Jets.
please, if they start
But
Peterman,
they can't start Nathan Peterman again.
they have to.
They can't.
Why do they have to?
Going Buffalo
Because they're
Bills.
playing the Jets.
Buffalo Bills. What is it? Peterman has like 17
It's-
interceptions in 93 pass attempts for his career.
It's crazy.
He's going to be a great coach.
It's
He's
ins-
going to be a phenomenal
But I'm
football
telling you,
coach.
week after week,
Listen.
how does he even get to
Wait
touch the field?
until we get to
They have a rookie quarterback.
the
Is he
late
hurt?
2020s, and he is the offensive coordinator at Pittsburgh, where he graduated from. And Pittsburgh is like 9-3 for some reason.
Is their rookie
they-
quarterback hurt for Buffalo?
Oh yeah, and Derek Anderson is Derek Anderson. So
I'd rather play Derek Anderson, honestly.
I'd rather play Derek Anderson too.
I don't get it. Let their running back throw the ball or something.
Malik, who you got?
There's got to be somebody on that
I
team.
hope Sam Darnold breaks Peyton Manning's rookie interception record of 26. I'm taking the Jets. I hope he throws 4 touchdowns and 3 picks, and they win.
That sounds like a Darnold game.
Yes.
New Orleans at Cincinnati, which, by the way, Malik and I correctly picked the Rams' first loss of the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't think both of you guys picked
Wow.
it. I knew one of you
No,
guys
we
did.
both did.
Shouts out to Michael Thomas for that Joe Horn touchdown.
I love that.
celebration.
That was awesome.
That throwback was beautiful.
Joey, who you got? New Orleans at Cincinnati.
New Orleans, they look really good. They got so many weapons on offense. It's hard to keep up with.
Joe, you're going 4 straight road opponents taking the win.
He's bald this week.
Yeah.
So I don't take that into account.
You should.
This is around the time where people start believing in Cincinnati again. This is that yearly
This is-
time.
this is
where people
when-
are like, could Cincinnati win a playoff game?
Because this is,
Marvin Lewis might
you know
do
why?
it.
You know why,
He
right?
just might do it.
Because they're going to win this game. They're going to beat New Orleans.
You know what? They are.
Lock in the
And people-
Bengals.
this is when people are gonna. Andy Dalton might have it this year.
Yeah, exactly. This is that time of year. Are you picking the Bengals?
Bengals win.
Let's go.
Malik, don't let me catch up now.
This happens every year. The Bengals start winning.
I know.
People start believing down the toilet.
It's true.
Atlanta at Cleveland. Anybody want to pick the Browns?
No.
I want to pick the Browns.
just can't do
Man,
it,
I'm
though.
I'm
You
a
just
Baker
can't do
fan.
it.
Baker played really good last week, but that team just isn't looking good right now. Atlanta.
And Joey keeps the
Julio
road.
Jones scored his first
I know,
touchdown
that's
la-
crazy. That shocked me.
Yeah, things are weird right now.
All right, New England at Tennessee. Joey, who you got?
Whew.
Good win for the Titans last night.
I was glad I picked the Titans last week.
I like when teams make the Cowboys look bad.
But they're not beating New Orleans or New England.
You sure about that?
Yep, Patriots are winning.
Joey going another round on the road. You not going to pick a home team this week?
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Malik, you going New England as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I
sir.
think we're all going there. And then Jacksonville at Indiana. Indianapolis. I always do that. Indianapolis.
Get the NBA out of your
I
head for a
know.
minute.
It's just how
All
it
the
is.
big Eric Ebron guys. What do you think?
Dude, Jacksonville, that team is a mess right now. They're looking like the Minnesota Timberwolves right now.
All right, let's not go too far.
Maybe not dramatically, but just the way it's doesn't make sense. Who's your away team?
I can't tell you that.
Come on, man.
Didn't you say
It's Jacksonville at Indianapolis.
Okay, I'm going with Indianapolis. Let's switch it up.
Jacksonville? I'll say they show some pride this week. They have so much talent on that defense. And
That's
come
why,
on,
yeah,
man.
I get suckered in by the
Come
talent.
on.
I'm going Jacksonville as well. Arizona at Kansas City. Nobody is picking
Ooh,
Arizona.
man.
How about let me just do
Oh,
this?
that's
I'll mark
bad.
everybody's initials by Kansas City
That's
and we'll
bad.
move on.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Josh Rosen, I excuse you for this week. You can throw as many picks as you want.
Redskins at Tampa Bay.
Ooh, this
That's
one's
a tough one for me.
Fitzmagic is coming back.
Yeah, he
We
played
say that
pretty
every
good.
week.
Buccaneers.
He played good though.
But he's starting again. Yeah, he didn't play bad last week.
Yeah, I mean he threw
But-
2 picks early,
They're out of the Jameis. They might be out of the Jameis funk this week.
but the
No,
Redskins.
no.
Alex Smith though is just so
Efficient.
consistent.
Efficient.
Adrian Peterson's had a great year. I'm going with the Redskins.
Buccaneers, big plays.
I gotta go with Joey for the first time. Give me Washington. The LA Chargers at the laughing stock of the NFL, the Oakland Raiders.
That's so weird to say.
Good
The-
thing they got Gruden locked in for 10 years.
The
guys.
Raiders had
Good thing.
serious playoff hopes the past 2 years. That's crazy.
They're paying that dude $100 million.
Chargers.
Oh my goodness. What you
That's-
got, Malik?
That Spider 2Y banana ain't working.
Spider 2Y, but because everybody knows about it. Got to call a different play.
Phillip Rivers, Chargers.
Yeah, give me the Chargers. I can't pick the Raiders anymore. The Dolphins at Green Bay.
Green
Joey's
Bay.
Oh,
second
man.
team.
Man,
Give me
You-
Green.
you
Malik and I
can't-
will take Green Bay.
Hey,
You can't, in good faith,
the
take
Dolphins won
the
last
Dolphins.
week.
So what?
All
They
right,
won
Malik.
last week.
Who they beat?
The Jets.
Stop it.
They scored
They
13
barely-
points.
It's 13
Come
to
on.
6.
Come on.
What?
now.
That's a snooze fest right there.
Aaron Rodgers.
Don't try to ignore the snooze fest
Lights
this
it
week.
up.
Oh, it's a snooze fest. I
Jets are
understand that.
always in the snooze fest category.
It is what it is, man.
Whew.
This
Oh.
listen. This is how Chris has been digging himself into a hole.
Wait, is this
Picking
at
these
Lambeau?
types of games.
Is this at Lambeau?
Yes.
Okay, Green Bay.
Thank you. You scared me there for a minute.
Hey, if they're at home, you never know. Rip Hamilton's down in Miami watching, so you know, I get it.
What?
What's the correlation?
He likes the Dolphins, so you know he's
So-
got good taste
That's
as well.
not Rip City, okay? That's
What?
just
saying.
Rip City.
He's got season
Nobody on
tickets.
that Dolphins
I don't
team is
get-
wearing the mask. All right.
I don't get that logic. I just don't.
Rip Hamilton, Detroit
unless
connection, Miami Dolphins.
unless Ryan Tannehill runs out with that mask on. Nah.
Yeah, I'm with Malik.
Then he might have the power of the mask. But
Seahawks at the Rams.
Rams.
You don't think they have second loss in a row?
No, not to the Seahawks.
yeah, I'll
Seahawks
take-
are not bad.
No, but they're
They're
not
not
good
I
either.
think average. Yeah, very average. Rams.
I really want to pick against the Rams.
Do it.
I don't think Russell Wilson.
Go for it.
He can do it. He's done it.
You're almost
But I don't think he's gonna do it this week.
Chris. You're almost 10 behind Malik, so just make it easier.
Don't take the bait. Don't do it.
He's gonna do it.
Dun it. Dun it.
Go big or go home. Give me Seattle.
Gets him every time.
Next week, I'm getting close.
Cowboys at the Eagles. That'll be a fun one though. Joe.
Eagles. Cowboys are about to spiral.
Eagles.
Give me the Cowboys. I like the Amari Cooper edition.
Yeah, it
Football
worked
week
out
to get
well
in.
last week.
He
It
got,
was the,
wait, he got me a fantasy football win, okay?
They're playing against the Titans.
It was the first game.
Yeah,
Marcus
you guys-
Mariota has been terrible this year.
How terrible has he been? I've heard everybody
Really
say he's
bad.
been terrible.
No, he's like
does he
been
have,
bad.
Does he have more picks than touchdowns?
Maybe. I just know like his yardage is really
Is
low.
his
He's
completion
not
rating
running a
below,
whole
like,
lot.
60?
Probably.
Mike Vrabel is probably telling him to stop running as much, which would be a problem of coaching. But
Yeah.
Now, you talked about the Jets and Buffalo being a snooze fest.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this Monday night primetime matchup, Joe.
Yep.
The New York Giants
Mm-hmm.
at the San Francisco 49ers.
give me Nick Mullins
But I'm just
by
saying,
at least
how
3 touchdowns.
Bills and Jets is worse.
it's worse, but that's a Monday night matchup.
Right.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Give me Nick Mullins.
Of course
by
you're
at
going
least
Nick
3
Mullins.
touchdowns.
Give
Listen,
me Nick Mullins.
I believe he knows the Giants play script.
We're going with the G-men. I don't know why.
Bad pick, Joe.
Just one of those
One of those
weekly,
feelings.
just let's pick him. Going for it.
Well, that's our NFL picks for this week. We'll do the next week's update where Malik's still at 1, Joe's still at 2, and I'm still a distant 3rd.
That Niners defense is gonna rip Eli Manning up.
Probably.
Before we get into college basketball and get into the preview, we got to touch on a few things Pistons because it was actually surprisingly a busy week with a slightly negative tone.
Slight.
So after a 4-0 start,
Slight.
Slightly.
after a 4-0 start to the year, they've lost now 5 straight.
5 straight losses. That's,
5 straight losses. It's not
nothing.
bad. 2 overtime losses.
It's
to
9
the
games
Nets
into the
and-
season.
That's it, man. That's it.
I think it's the worst losing streak in the NBA so far.
That's false. Cleveland.
Oh, that's true.
Cleveland started the season.
0-6.
0-8. I thought it was 0-8.
It was 0-6.
0-6, I
Either way.
believe.
Some
close.
interesting thing though. Glenn Robinson III has replaced Stanley Johnson at small forward, and
Hooray?
he played
Question mark?
Well, he played really well. He was one of the few bright spots for the Pistons,
Yeah, I felt like he played well too.
but he missed the biggest shot of the game, a wide open corner 3 to win the game for the Pistons.
I saw him hit that shot in Indiana last year. That
Mhm.
was like one of his top plays.
Yeah.
Hitting a game-winning 3 in the corner.
It was just a hair short. It was online, just short. And I will say this: if Blake Griffin does not foul out in the 4th, Pistons win that game.
We had to rely on the superhero,
Reggie.
Blake or bust.
Superman himself.
Ooh, that scared me. When I saw Blake go out, I knew Reggie was going to have the ball. Even at the end of regulation, when like Blake gave the ball to Reggie, and it was just like back and forth, dribble, 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 dribble. I was terrified.
Reggie has made clutch shots before, so it's not that he's bad in the clutch.
It's just two
that
guys that both
yeah.
want the moment
Yeah.
and don't want to share it at all.
He didn't take a bad shot. The floater,
I was fine with
Yeah,
it.
it
I
wasn't
mean,
a
it
bad shot.
gave Drummond an opportunity for a tip in, especially against Miami, who, without Hassan Whiteside,
The problem was they waited too deep into the shot clock, which isn't all Reggie's fault. I think Ish Smith held the ball a little bit too long, but it was a little bit rushed.
another issue for me too last night. Why is Jose Calderon playing so many minutes? He's playing heavy minutes deep into the 4th quarter. He, in a lineup that includes Reggie Jackson, Ish Smith, and Jose Calderon.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know you're going to get destroyed defensively.
just a number of questions that probably won't be answered. In
Just
the
doesn't
past
make
few
sense.
years, there have been several questions that have never gotten answered, and this is just another one to add to the list.
And
the
for some
Pistons.
reason, it's always a rotational question.
Yeah.
Regardless of the coach.
It doesn't make sense.
At least James Ennis. I hope that never happens.
These
again.
coaches are seeing something.
Glenn Robinson is already 10 times better than James Ennis.
Yeah.
James Ennis was just...
I like Glenn Robinson's tenacity on defense.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that's where he played really well last night.
He's just a better 3-point shooter too.
Yeah.
We got to talk the Andre Drummond, Joel Embiid situation.
Mind games. Toying with him.
Embiid owns a lot of real estate in Andre's head, it seems.
Yep.
As
Even
he
though
said.
Andre begs to differ.
Embiid busted him up for 39 and 17.
32 in the first
32 in the first half.
half.
A lot at the free throw line.
Wasn't close in any
But-
way.
Joel really, his first possession jab step on the mid block, gets by Drummond for a 2-handed slam. That sets the tone for the entire day because it was a day game. But the Pistons ended up coming back, lost that game. And Joel Embiid went on to quote saying how Andre flops too much and how he's got all the real estate in his head. What do you guys take of this Embiid situation? Is he going too far? With
Joel
all these
Embiid-
with all these social media posts afterwards and everything, is it going too far?
Joel Embiid is the best center in the NBA. He can
Okay.
say whatever he wants as long
But
as he backs
Joe
it up.
considers Anthony. Oh wait, he's a power forward, Anthony Davis.
Yeah. There you go. Look
Well,
at
I
that.
said you consider him a power forward.
Joel Embiid can say whatever he wants as long as he keeps dominating anybody he goes against.
But
'Cause
he's talking a lot of
they're-
junk
They're
about.
not on his level.
I mean, they're still 1-1 season series. Blake Griffin busted them up. Blake didn't talk.
They didn't have
It
Ben
wasn't-
Simmons that game.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ben Simmons against the Pistons is not a great matchup. He's just not.
He's a lot bigger than anybody that would guard
But
him.
it also helps that he's not a 3-point threat or perimeter threat.
Yeah, but he has a really good post game. He can back up the
But-
I don't know
back
about
down the
really
smaller
I wouldn't
players.
say
He has a
really
solid-
good.
he has a
I think he
solid
has a
game.
good post game.
He's really good at penetrating and finding the open guy.
Right.
That's really it right now. Which Ben Simmons is a really good player. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think when it comes to the Pistons actually have a decent game plan against Ben Simmons. They have bigger forwards that actually match up very well. Glenn Robinson, Stanley Johnson. I'm not worried about Ben. I don't think that played that much of a role. Sixers probably do win with Ben Simmons that overtime game, but it's not by a landslide. So you said Joel can do whatever he wants. Joey, what do you make of that?
I believe if if you're on that level, if you can walk the walk, talk.
Yep.
Talk.
I'm in total agreement. If you're going to talk like that, you got to show it. You got to show the reason why you're talking like that. You got to back it up. You got to prove a point.
He was talking junk, though, after the Pistons beat him, too.
Well, because he dominated Andre
But
Drummond.
they still lost. You don't have a problem with that?
You can talk about how you dominated a matchup
Yeah.
after a loss.
Blake had an exceptional game that day. That's not going to happen every time they play. That's my biggest fear, is that the Pistons are going to get slotted to maybe the 6th, maybe the 5th seed into the playoffs, and they'd have to go up against the Sixers.
I'm not even sure if they're going to be that.
Yeah, let's
but I'm just
pump the
saying,
brakes there.
if we go off of our preseason predictions,
Yeah.
that's my biggest fear.
We all know I overestimate the Pistons every year.
But yeah, I mean, if you can talk, if you're going to talk, you got to back it up. And so far, Embiid has backed it up. Drummond has got to figure this out
he had 25 and 24 last night.
against Miami without Hassan Whiteside.
Still, people that play against Miami, Miami has played a handful of games. How many centers have put up 20 and 20 against them? 0.
And they still lost.
They still lost. Don't get me. Yeah, but you're saying Drummond's got to figure this out. I mean,
he does. If
Joel had 25 and 24, you'd say, Joel is dominant.
If he's allowing somebody to get into his head to where he plays that bad and cannot stay in the game against the Sixers, that is a problem.
You know why I can't tolerate it? Because to me, Andre Drummond is becoming Dwight Howard.
Hey,
I told you, I tried to draw the comparisons.
Howard. No, he wishes he was Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard in his prime.
The rebounds are amazing. The physical gifts are out of this world.
But he's nowhere near athletic.
But when
he's not.
Yes. But when it comes down to it, what is your value really?
Andre's value is to get rebounds.
Dwight Howard got Orlando to a championship, and that was in his prime. He was at his best.
You are selling Dwight Howard severely short, comparing Andre Drummond to him. Dwight in his prime,
he was the best.
He was a top 5, not center, top 5 player in the NBA.
But I'm saying in terms of attitude towards the game, how you approach the game.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very similar in personality, and they're very charismatic.
And that approach, yeah.
They're kind of carefree. You kind of wish they would hunker down a little bit at times.
It's more about having fun.
Right.
And after you dunk, you dance. After you get an and one, you flex to the crowd.
Which a bit of that is nice, but the problem is when you want to get serious, you're not really able to do it.
Exactly. He's not on the level to where he can do that at all times, and they're winning, and he's great, like Dwight Howard was for that span in Orlando. He needs to get more serious and improve in most of his game to me, because how he is now, like I said, the rebounds are great. He's going to have games where he scores 20-something, 30-something points because he's that gifted physically and athletically, but it's not going to get us anywhere.
Definitely.
And you're gonna
unless he changes.
And just statistically, as you shoot, like teams are shooting way more shots than they ever have in NBA history.
Part of that is with the new rule of it resetting the shot clock to 14 after rebounding. It's creating a lot more possessions.
Right. So that's going to up your rebounding stat as well. So it's going to be a little bit inflated. He does a really good job at getting rebounds and things, but I'm just saying the 20. It's similar to like a Russell Westbrook triple-double, where these 20 and 20 games aren't as crazy. I know Drummond's still one of the only guys that will do it consistently.
It's impressive,
but it is still a little inflated. So you got to take it with
a
slight grain of salt.
I'd say very slightly inflated, but we needed to talk a little bit of the Pistons after their extremely hot start and then just extremely bad play of recent and the whole Drummond and Embiid stuff. College basketball preview. Gonna go quick and with some hot takes from Joe. I can just feel it. 3 teams that you are high on heading into the year. I'll start with you, Joe. Give me a team.
If we're talking about regular season, it's going to be...
It's just for the whole year. It doesn't have to be just regular season.
Well, I think...
Just whatever you think.
I think Duke, obviously. Nevada, I think, is a team to actually watch out for.
I knew you were going to say Nevada.
And... Man. Okay, let's go with... We're going to go with Villanova just because I think their coaching staff is so good.
Okay.
That's a boring reason.
I know, but...
Let's go watch basketball for coaching. Malik, give me 3 teams you are high on heading into the year.
I'm high on, first of all, LSU.
LSU.
I think Tremont Waters is going to be easily one of the best point guards in college basketball this year. If you don't know who Tremont Waters, watch his freshman highlights. He's one of the most shifty point guards in college basketball. He's quick, fast. He has a great jumper, and he's a really good passer. He's going to make a huge jump as a sophomore. And they quietly, really, have one of the best freshman classes in the country. They have 2 men amongst boys, and Naz Reid and Emmett Williams, who are both McDonald's All-Americans that they got. So LSU, I'm looking for them to make big moves. North Carolina, I'm a Duke fan behind Michigan, but I think North Carolina, they have a really good mix of freshmen, like a great recruiting class, and vets that really a lot of teams don't have the match with in the country. When you have Luke May and other guys that make plays, juniors and seniors, and then you have guys like Kobe White, who's going to be the point guard.
Nazir Little, too.
Exactly, Nazir Little. That combination of freshmen and vets is really, really good. And then Nevada, the Martin twins,
Yep.
tough veteran team, and they snatched up a McDonald's All-American in Jordan Brown, a 5-star player.
Yeah.
How about Nevada moving up like
They're
that?
going to look good. They got senior leadership. The Martin twins are the real deal. They showed it in the tournament last year. I think they're my most exciting. I'm actually going to change my third choice from Villanova to Oregon just because of the Bowl turnaround 3.
Look, there's no excuse. Nevada
That'll be a fun team.
Nevada
to watch.
almost has to. They have to lose like less than 5 games this year,
Right.
because I think in the polls they're a top 10 team.
They are. They're 7th.
Yeah, their expectations, they cannot.
They can't drop many games because their
They're in
schedule.
the WAC conference.
Exactly.
They have to. It has to be like a 3 or 4 loss team,
Mm-hmm.
and they might be a 2 or 3 seed coming around tournament time, because they should be that hot, that good of a team.
Right.
Now, the team I'm just most excited to watch. I'm not even a huge college basketball guy until we get to March Madness and a couple weeks before the tournament, the big conference tournaments. But Duke, R.J. Barrett,
The trendy
Zion
pick-
Williamson,
I understand it though. Yeah,
Cameron Reddish, like those 3. It's showtime for college basketball.
It's
It's gonna
ridiculous.
be. It's something we've never seen in college basketball. Those R.J. Barrett,
He's the best player on that team.
he's a Luka Doncic.
Don't forget it.
Type prospect.
The American.
I had to say it. I had to say it. But
Jeez.
he's not your average top tier college basketball prospect. He is above that.
Yes.
Another team. I'm actually kind of excited for MSU this year.
This is a Tom Izzo team.
That's what I was gonna say.
This is a Tom Izzo
This
team.
is a perfect team for Tom Izzo. They've been slept on the last few years. They've been disappointing the last few years.
no superstars, no crazy expectations.
They are my dark horse pick to get Izzo back to the Final Four. I just have a
understand it.
feeling about this team. Like you said, there's no superstar. It is an Izzo team. And then my number 3 most exciting team, kind of boring picks, but I'm more of an NBA guy, so I like the NBA prospects. Kentucky. People are calling this one of Calipari's most talented teams. So I'll be interested to see. I mean, keep your eye on Keldon Johnson, the freshman. That kid's going to be good.
For me, it's Tyler Hero. That kid is smooth. He's an effortless scorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing with Keldon, like he's a solid athlete. He can score and he'll lock up one of your
Yeah.
best offensive players. So he's kind of that perfect 2-way player.
Just another Kentucky freshman class.
Seriously.
Just another one.
Player of the year. I know, Joey, you got a player of the year pick? Someone you're high on? Are you going to go with the de facto pick?
Well, I'm going to go off based what my thinking is. If Nevada's going to make a deep run, I think Cody Martin could be player of the year.
I like that pick.
So I'm just going to go with that.
Okay.
He was conference player of the year last year. So if anybody's going to lead Nevada to maybe a number 1 seed potentially,
I'm not sure about a
everything goes
1
right.
seed.
Well,
but-
if they would have to probably go, it'd be like a Gonzaga. They'd have to go almost undefeated.
Yeah.
But if they make a high seed, I think he could make a strong case for himself, especially as a senior.
Malik, your player of the year?
My 1A, I don't think it's a really big surprise. RJ Barrett, he's he's gonna have control of the ACC this year. I mean, his numbers might not be huge, but he's gonna have really good numbers, and he's gonna shine when it matters most. My 1B, and this depends. I think Purdue is overrated.
I think so too. I think they're getting respect from tournament play
Yes.
last year.
But if Carson Edwards can get them to the tournament and have them make a run in the Big Ten tournament,
Carson Edwards
is one of the best point guards in the country.
He
That kid
is.
is yeah.
He's kind of like, I'm not comparing him game wise, but he's kind of like Jalen Brunson in a way that he is just that perfect college basketball point guard or combo guard.
I think he's beyond that because offensively he's so much more talented. He can give you anything.
I mean, to be
crossovers, his 3-point shot is deadly. His quickness, I mean, his athleticism is surprising. He's about 6'1". He had a few highlight dunks last year. He's good. He should average a good 23, 24 points a game. He could be Big Ten Player of the Year. And if Purdue is good, he's going to be a runner for Player of the Year.
No, that's a really solid pick. Yeah, I went the de facto pick. Nothing crazy. RJ Barrett. I mean,
Do you guys really think he's going to be able to stick out that much on that team?
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's that talented that
That was kind of what
Zion,
held. That's kind of what held me back a little bit. Is that team is going to be so talented that I don't know if he is able to completely get himself far enough away from the others that he would be Player of the Year.
When it comes down to those crucial moments in the ACC, I think it's going to come down to two guys, RJ Barrett and Trey Jones, who might be their other most important player because he is a really smart and savvy point guard that can also score. Them two will probably be the ones to make the biggest plays. Although Cam Reddish is a crazy scorer, so it's a crazy talented team.
Right. That's what kind of stopped me from picking a Duke player to win Player of the Year.
Duke might go undefeated this year in the regular season.
I'm not going to go that far yet.
I
think I'm gonna go that far.
I can't do that yet.
My big prediction is that they're going to be the Karl Anthony Towns Kentucky team. They're going to make comparisons to an NBA team. People are going to say, "Oh, are these guys better than the Cavs? Can they beat the Cavs in a game?"
But that I can't go out on that. That Kentucky team had two starting lineups.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I think
Duke-
this talent level, maybe not as deep, but that starting five is just as good, if not better.
I'd agree with that.
I think they're going to do the same thing. I think they're going to make it. They're going to do really well in the regular season, and in the tournament, they're going to be those young guys that know they're going to be NBA prospects, and they're just going to kind of fizzle out. I think it's going to be one of those young teams that struggle.
And then
in
they
the
all
Big
go to
Ten.
the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a team to have that perfect season, Duke. I'm telling you, man, they are so loaded. I think Joe is sleeping a little bit on RJ Barrett and how skilled he actually is.
I don't think I'm sleeping. I'm just saying I don't think that the skill level between that whole team, I think he distributes the ball well enough and he knows like what his team is around him that maybe he won't be able to show off everything that he has.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Were you guys able to take a look at like the AP Top 25 poll at all?
A little bit.
Was there any team that stuck out to you that was a little bit of a surprise?
I don't think Virginia should be as high as they are.
Okay.
Purdue was one of the ones.
I think Virginia. I think they should be ranked.
Yeah, Virginia's
but
5.
I don't think they're number 5. They're returning their best players, but besides those best players, I don't think they have enough to make a deep run. We've seen a tough Virginia team can be great in a regular season like last year. Did they just win? They lost 2 games in the regular season, 1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
Lose to UMBC.
Mm-hmm.
You need certain things.
Hey, put respect on UMBC's name, okay?
Shouts out to those Terriers, right?
The Terriers, baby.
Yeah.
The
the
Retrievers.
Retrievers.
Golden Retrievers. Come on, man.
I got it wrong.
Yeah.
Shout out Loyola too, just because.
I'm so disappointed in myself.
Well, last year was the year of upsets, so.
But yeah, that was an anomaly.
I talked to Sammy, who was on our NCAA tournament special that we did last year. And I was saying, he was joking about UMBC again in Virginia. And I said, well, watch this year. Virginia, everybody's going to have such low expectations. Watch Virginia. They're the first team to ever lose to a 16 seed. They could also now be the first team to ever win a national championship after losing to a 16
They'll
seed.
be the only team to ever do it.
What
if that happened, that would be insane.
What if I told you?
No, stop. So you said
to be continued.
You said Purdue was the team. They're ranked 24, so you don't think they should be ranked at all?
No.
I don't think they should preseason.
They're just one of those teams that I think got tournament respect.
Okay.
I think Michigan State also got some tournament respect, and I think that's some Izzo respect for their 10, right? I believe.
Michigan State 10, Michigan 19.
Yeah, I think both of those teams are given a little bit of respect.
Michigan's ranking makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a little more sense. Michigan State, I think, should be a little bit lower. I think they do have a lot of potential at Michigan State, but they're a really young team.
Well,
so
let's move into that, then. Let's break down MSU real quick.
I think they're a late season top 10 team, not preseason.
Okay, so that's why you're low on them to start the year, but
they're going to take some time to build. They got Malik's guy, David DeJulius. They got the Clarkson boys, Thomas Kithier, who didn't get to play his senior season.
Wait, Dave is with Michigan. Dave is on Michigan.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Don't you ever confuse MSU and Michigan, Joe. Are you kidding me?
I forgot
because
I was looking at point guards for both teams because both teams are kind of somewhat lacking in the point guard category. I was hoping somebody could take over Xavier Simpson. So, okay, go back to
this
MSU.
freshman class is something Tom Izzo can mold into something great in 2 years.
I think
when they're juniors, they can be something special.
Cassius Winston this is a big year for Cassius. He's kind of taking over the leadership role for this team. They have, like I was going to say, the Clarkson boys, Thomas Kithier, who didn't play his senior season because of his transfer from Macomb to Dakota to Clarkson, didn't actually get to play, but they got Foster Loyer, Mr. Basketball from Michigan.
I think Foster Loyer is going to be a really good college basketball player. I really do. I think in a couple years,
I think he could be one of the best point guards in MSU history. He's a 4-year guy. Honestly, he could lead them to two Final Fours. I'll give Foster 2 Final Fours. That's how good of a basketball player he is.
Joe's biting his tongue a little bit there. What's going on there?
I don't know. Like, I keep doubting. Is one of those guys that you keep doubting and he just keeps proving you wrong. So I'm not sure. I just don't know how well he's going to translate yet. And I said the same thing about Cassius Winston, and it took him a few years.
You can't teach vision. You can't teach that natural instinct
that shooting
guys
touch.
Like Cassius and Foster have.
Right.
Foster, he's going to be a perfect fit for that offense, and he's going to really surprise people.
Foster makes Joey look like Ben Wallace from the 3-point arc.
Wait a minute.
If only we could drop a clip right now
I don't know if
of Joey
true.
shooting in the gym.
Anyway,
yeah, most of the viewers who watch this show, I think, know how I shoot. So,
anyways,
Chris
so what
is just jealous.
Clearly. So what are your expectations for MSU then? Heading into this year, how do you expect them to finish the year?
I expect a Sweet 16 run, maybe Elite 8, but I think they get cut short. I think they show a lot of promise for the coming years, the next 2 or 3 years. I think a few of the freshmen really start to shine later in the season. And I think they have a year that Michigan State fans can be hopeful for.
Joe.
Yeah, this is another building year. I think they can make a good run. I think just being Michigan State, they have to contend for a Big Ten title. I don't see the Big Ten being that scary conference anymore. We saw it a little bit kind of diffuse last year where it was basically Michigan State, and Purdue. I feel like it's the same way this year that Michigan State and Michigan, even though they lost some key pieces, I think they rebuilt pretty well. And they're still in a prime position to be able to contend for that Big Ten championship. So I think that's always going to be the goal. But I think the same as Malik, I think that they're going to struggle maybe in the tournament. I think they can make a run, but I'm always the guy that's like, if you have a young team going into the tournament, it's not going to fare well for you, most likely. So I think that they're going to struggle in that aspect, but I think you're going to show some big improvements. And then going into next year, they're going to look really good, I think. Especially with Nick Ward having so much experience now, Cassius Winston have so much experience, Jeremy Langford having great experience. So you got some guys that have been around the system for a while now with those young guys that are coming in that are very talented. So it'll be fun to watch MSU grow this year, I think.
Now, we have just a little bit of time left, but we got to talk Michigan. I mean, they're ranked number 19, had a great run last year.
They got David DeJulius, Malik's boy.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
We needed that. We needed.
Hey, Malik's the guy that gets all the recruiting stuff, so I only know a little bit, and I messed it up. So.
Malik, what's your feeling about this team heading into the year?
Speaking of recruiting, this is probably the best recruiting class John Beeline has brought in. Abe Julius, as he brought up. You got Adrian Nunez, shooting guard from New York, who might be something in a few years. Brandon Johns, who was close to winning Mr. Basketball, 6'8", really athletic. Iggy Brazdeikis, Canadian, European, a guy that is going to take the Big Ten by storm this year. 6'8", 215, can score any way you want.
So you're really liking this roster then?
I like the roster. They're young. I'm going to get to it.
Okay.
I like the roster. Xavier Simpson is the leader of that team. He's a dog. You got Charles Matthews, the guy that's going to be the pro. Jordan Poole has to be the guy that takes huge steps on the offensive end. They're a young team. I don't expect them to be as good as Michigan State this year. I think if they get to the Sweet 16, that would be a really good sign for John Beeline is the best coach in the Big Ten at this point. I think he's jumped over Tom Izzo just this much because
I agree with that.
You know Tom Izzo's reputation. We all know. But what John Beeline has built at Michigan, nobody's expected what he's done. And, I mean, around March, don't be surprised if, once again, Michigan makes one of those runs to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. But because this is a really young team and they have growing pains to go through, although they have some really good vets that'll lead the team, I think the most to expect is maybe Sweet 16 at the most. But if they get to the tournament and win a game or two, I'll be satisfied with this team, honestly.
Joe, you got about a minute or so. What's your take about this Michigan team?
Yeah, I think they're in the same boat as Michigan State. I think they got to defend or they got to look for a Big Ten title. They're also young, like Malik said. I don't know. I still don't believe in Xavier Simpson.
I mean, if the dude can make a free throw.
I like that he's tough and he brings that tenacity to the team. But I'm more interested to see how Jordan Poole has grown. Isaiah Livers.
I think that's the key to the team, Jordan Poole. If he can actually grow.
I think the combination between Jordan Poole and Isaiah Livers is really important for this team.
By the way, Iggy Brazdeikis started over Isaiah Livers in the first exhibition.
Really?
So yeah,
wow.
They believe in Iggy as a
but I think Charles Matthews is going to do what he does. I think he's going to have a better season this year because he's going to be more of the primary scorer. I'm also interested to see what Teskey's role on this team is because in the time that he had to play in the tournament when Wagner went out, either with foul trouble or things like that, I think he played really well. I think he's super efficient. He has some good post moves.
Really good defense.
I know, yeah, and I think he's another guy that's just a hard worker, and he's just kind of a bruiser, and you like to have that on your team. So I think, Michigan's going to be interesting. I think both Michigan and Michigan State are going to be very exciting to watch and see how these teams grow and adapt, and they're going to be really well set for the next coming years.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the season starts tonight. So
let's go. I'm excited.
I mean, it starts with a bang, too. 2 really good games on ESPN.
Mhm.
So I'll definitely be tuning in. You guys got any last?
Amir Abdullah got waived.
Special teams coordinator got relieved of duties as well.
Joe Marciano. And the Lions signed somebody and Zach Zenner. Glad to see Zenner back.
That'll do it. All right, guys. We'll see you again next week.
Duke gets the win. Michigan gets the win tonight. Let's go.
Wow.